Hi, I'm your host Vasco Duarte. Welcome to the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, where we share tips and tricks from Scrum Masters around the world. Every day, we bring you inspiring answers to important questions that all Scrum Masters face day after day. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Success Thursday, the question of the week, of course. And we have this week with us, Isshai Kamara. Hey, Isshai, welcome back.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be back.
Absolutely. So, Isshai, on Thursdays, we talk success, and we will in a minute. But for now, share with us, what's your favorite retrospective format and why?
So one of the things I like to do when it comes to retros is try to make it fun, right? So I use a variety of different formats, but what I like to do is, just do a few different types. But I would say my favorite one that I've done so far has been having like user story awards. And so what I've done is come up with different categories, like what's the worst user story or what's the best user story and why. It provides a stimuli to our developers, something lighthearted, but also that allows for critical thinking as well, to be able to really help to, understand why things may have gone bad or, where we could have improved on as well. So it really helps to, have those. So we'll have like an open discussion after we talk about, how we categorize them, and we move forward with being able to document all of those action items and, storing them in a Confluence and coming back to it in the future to show the team how much we've improved. So just different formats, trying to make it fun, so the tools also help with that as well.
And I imagine you also have a lot of funny conversations, right? Because there's a lot of metaphor in that format. Like, for example, I don't know, what could that be? The most surprising user story, right? Like we're talking about it as a fun thing, but a surprise in the user story in the middle of the sprint is not a good thing. And we need to know why, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, for sure. And so it definitely helps. I think it's good to have a variety, not have the same, what did you do? Not to have the same type of format all the time, asking those same three questions, right? But finding different ways that we can improve it. I've even done like a Harry Potter version, so whatever your team likes, whatever commonalities that you all share, it's great to use that in the retrospective to make it fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And using humor to talk about difficult topics is a very powerful tool for us, right? Because sometimes the team isn't there yet to be able to talk about difficult topics without humor, but humor helps to bring in what might be difficult but can be accepted because it is, as you said, fun.
Absolutely.
Now, of course, we run these retros, the fun retros, and as well as the serious ones, because we want our teams to succeed, and that happens when we succeed as Scrum Masters, of course. But for now, we want to focus on the success for Scrum Masters. Isshai, share with us, what does success mean for you in your role as a Scrum Master?
Okay, I would say what success looks like, number one, is meeting the criteria that the organization sets for you, number one, right? And then number two, I would say your ability to really help your teams to become more mature. So one of the things I like to do when I work with my teams is to be able to have them at a very mature state within 3 to 4 months. They're usually able to do so much, and they're truly, self-organizing. And also, looking at how you can help your organization. I know we primarily focus more on the role of the Scrum Master for the teams, but I think when you're able to look outside of your team, especially if you're in a scaled Agile or any type of scaled environment, it's really important to see how can we work together as Scrum Masters, as an organization. Like, how do we improve our metrics? What are some best practices, right? Holding community of practice events. That's one of the things that I really like, that I look into making sure that I accomplish as a Scrum Master to make both an organizational and a team impact.
Absolutely. And you talked about one thing that I wanted to kind of dive a little bit more into, because you talked about working together with Scrum Masters, other Scrum Masters, in order to be able to help your organization. In practice, like how do you get that started? Because of course, all Scrum Masters are in the end focusing on helping their teams, and it might be difficult to get out of that, let's call it focus mode, and understand that the wider picture is also important. So can you share with us some of the strategies you use to kind of get together with the other Scrum Masters and actually start working together across teams, not just within the teams?
Yes, sure thing. So in a safe environment, we have what's called the Scrum of Scrums, or now Safe 6.0, known as the Coach Sync. And so this is when we all come together. It's a dedicated time that we meet to discuss, what it is that, number one, our metrics, and, how are we in terms of our alignment, for the release of our product, right? And so in that time, we may have conversations where we might talk about some challenges that we're having with our teams. And so with discussing whatever challenges they may be having, these are points that I've taken down in the past and converted into workshops, right? Especially if it's a common thread that is occurring throughout the organization. So we just look towards, I would just say I mostly look towards, seeing how I can provide the most value for, our product lead or our project managers that are overseeing the project, and making sure that, there's full visibility into everything so that there's never any surprise, And so that's how I go about doing that.
So when you talk to this group of Scrum Masters within the organization, what are typical metrics that you end up following as a group, not you individually, but you as a group of Scrum Masters?
Yeah. So one thing that I've done in the past is kind of lead a workshop of developing automated JIRA dashboards. And so what we would have, of course, is our widgets that show the velocity, the historical velocity. It shows also the velocity, how our team is doing in that current sprint, the burn down chart. We also have a section where we can put in our risks, and we also have like historical data in terms of what we've been able to commit and complete. And so those are there, and it really does help our teams and also management, in terms of being able to analyze the data for the teams.
And one thing that I really like about that is that the process of deciding what metrics to follow up on actually brings people together and helps them understand what the goals are in practice, right? Because that's how we do it, right? Like you want to run the 100 meters in under 10 seconds. So you have certain metrics you look at. It's not just the 100 meters in 10 seconds. You might look at, the starting first few meters and the force you put against the starting blocks, whatever. Like there could be many metrics that we follow, but we have a clear goal. And that ability to discuss the goal comes also from discussing what metrics matter, right? Because we can always ask, okay, so this metric for what is the reason we're following this? Like, what's the ultimate goal? And I think that's a very important shared discussion for that community of Scrum Masters.
I totally agree, for sure.
Thank you for sharing, Aisha.
You're welcome.
Part of a successful Scrum Master job is to help the product owner. Tomorrow we explore that critical role in Scrum, the product owner role. Tune in to learn about product owner anti-patterns, what you can do to help the product owner, and a real-life example of what a great product owner is and what made it so. Tomorrow on our Friday Product Owner episode. See you tomorrow.
We really hope you liked our show.
And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.